Agenda
Husband's
handed
over
out.
the top. He'd be like, what do I need to do? Do I need to call people? Who do I need to call?
I'd like to call this regular town board meeting for the town of Bayfield to order for Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg.
Here.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Hartz.
Here.
Trustee Katzos.
Here.
Trustee Moreland.
Here.
Trustee McLaurin.
Here.
And Mayor Ah.
Here. All rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Does the board have any conflicts of interest?
No.
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 Next up is general public input for those items not on the agenda.
Case Floodway 9002, County Road 521, Bayfield. I'm just here to remind you. It's been over a year now, and we are still fighting with the developer at Mustang Crossing. The deficiencies have still not been addressed and corrected. As a matter of fact, the engineering report that you guys are getting has identified some other deficiencies in the pond. I'm not sure if it's in the design or if it's in the construction, but we all know the pond's not working. Our field has already been underwater. We've reached out to every agency. We actually had a meeting last week with the Colorado Department of Agriculture, and they are gonna get involved in this as well. So again, I just want to reiterate that right now, the wheels of justice with the government turn very, very slowly. So we are asking for your assistance in not giving final approval, not issuing building permits, because this is far from over. It has not been corrected. Every time it snows, every time it rains, the pond retains the water, and then it flows over and floods our property. Once again, we're not gonna be able to put up hay. Our cows came to graze, it's destroying the field, it's getting bigger. So we're farther away from a solution than we were a year ago. So again, I'm just asking for you guys to keep this kind of in the front of your mind, and everything that you guys can do to help would be greatly appreciated. We're not getting anywhere with the developer, we're not getting anywhere with the contractor. We're just thousands of dollars in the hole going back and forth between attorneys, but we're not gaining any ground. So, just asking for you guys to please continue to keep your thumb on this, keep your eye on it, because it's gonna end up in your lap at some point, and then the people downstream are also being affected by it now. So it's not gonna be just us, it's gonna be all our neighbors here as well. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Paige.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else for general public input? Approval of the agenda. Has the board had a chance to look over the agenda?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as provided by Dustin this morning to us.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg.
Yes.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Hartz.
Yes.
Trustee Katzos.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin.
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. Next is approval of the minutes and department reports. Approval of minutes for April 1st, 2025.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from April 1st, 2025 as presented.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg.
Yes.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Hartz.
Abstain.
Trustee Ketsos,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Abstain.
and Mayor Ah.
Yes. Next is the town manager report.
Okay, well, I'll start off with Mustang Crossing, since that was recently brought to your attention. I spent quite a bit of time on Mustang Crossing the last week or two, and helped with some of the information.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we can't hear anything you're saying. Thank you.
Scott, the microphone helps a lot. If it works.
Yeah, I checked it earlier.
We seem to have, audio visual seems to be an issue this
There's a
evening.
TV show called Get Smart, and tone of silence comes down, and you scream really loudly. That's what this is gonna be. Should I do that?
Should be working.
Get smart.
If he pulls his shoe off, duck.
Or if he starts talking in his shoe.
Then you better send me off.
Yeah.
You might be better off with the shoe.
Stand, will it work up there if I stand up there?
Guess.
Seems like there's.
It's not on?
Should I just call this off?
Okay.
Death touch.
I spent quite a bit of time on Mustang Crossing over the last 2 weeks and other subdivisions, and better understand the subdivision process that you've set out in your code, et cetera, et cetera. And I just want to make sure I tell everybody that we're not going to prove anything unless the system works. So one of the improvements is a private improvement, which is the drainage. But the city requires all improvements, public and private, to be working and functional, and actually that way, to stay that way for 2 years. So I've taken the position pretty strongly that I'm not going to approve probationary approval or building permits until the developer comes back and corrects the things that the engineer has identified. Now, I can't say that's going to solve everybody's problem. Probably will, I'm hoping it will. But for our requirement, our responsibility is to make sure that works, and it's designed to work well when they get done, and then for 2 years, actually, I think it's 2 years on before they get final approval. After they get probationary, then they can get building permits, but that's not gonna happen the way I understand it right now, so
Thank you.
maybe some relief there, I guess. Okay. Kathleen, have you answered on the PRC question on the grant?
Oh,
You were
Sure.
asked.
you want me to answer that
Yeah,
now?
go ahead. You
Okay.
guys asked a question about can you just, proactively pull money out for the project?
So I wasn't at the last meeting, but I was asked if the grant would pay upfront for the plant investment fees for Pine River Commons. Essentially, DOLA says yes in a sense, but the way it has to happen is the town has to purchase those. So we would have to write a check from one fund to another, pay for them, and then ask for reimbursement and give that to Pine River Commons. It's a big circle that doesn't work, that doesn't make any sense. The grant is based on reimbursement of expenses. They need to pay their expenses up front, and then I ask for reimbursement. That's how it works. I do not feel, it's my position, I don't feel that the town should purchase taps. We would essentially be the owners of those taps until we,
You need a real transaction.
yeah,
Yes.
that's not a real transaction.
Buying something
Exactly.
No.
Yep. Yep. We just wanted clarity around
Yeah.
that, and that provides that. So there was
There's not
mention that,
It's very muddy
Yeah.
to do it that way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I
mean, it's
think
based
keeping
on
track of that would be,
reimbursement. Yeah.
keeping track of that would be hard.
And their second reimbursement request I have processed it. It's in the hands of DOLA now. And that reimbursement request is for the TAP fees, the plant investment fees that they just paid for the last set of buildings. So I anticipate having those funds back in the next 5 to 10 days. And, I mean, that is the proper way for this to work.
All right, next issue. I had somebody ask me about the board of trustees contacting the attorney, and I know you can do that. I don't have any idea of what the rules are. That's something, if you do or don't have that figured out, you might talk to attorney sometime in the future. But I don't know anything about it, so I wanted to bring it up as a question. Cinnamon Heights, okay, actually, I should say East Intersection.
So what was the question with the attorney? Was it, when we contact you, does it cost a fee?
Yes,
Yeah.
every time you talk to them.
Billable hours.
That's what I figured. Quit calling them
Okay.
people.
The next issue is East
6-minute
Intersection.
Right?
At this point, I don't even know if I'm coming back to the next meeting, but I want to at least say this. At this point, you're really looking at probably some kind of impact fee, just like you have a school impact fee for all new building permits or growth, et cetera. And it doesn't have to have a rational nexus connection to people actually using that one intersection, because that intersection is also going to alleviate traffic on your Buck Highway intersection. In fact, my biggest fear is, this RV project. Sounds great, as long as it can be planned right. But you're talking rigs that are, 60 foot long or better, and you put 2 of them out here, and then suddenly that intersection's clogged. Just do. So, and that's gonna push people to go down the east intersection, or maybe they'll go down the other end of the highway and towards the Durango and try to slip on them. Everybody drives 60 mile an hour and come up on your bumper and scream at you like they do with me. So it's gonna be, the transportation is something that's gonna be universal, a need the entire town has. So to me, I think that's probably where you're gonna head with some kind of solution. The other solution is that Cinnamon Heights is gonna be done by the end of the year. We purchased 30 lots with the sewer fund. A couple of years ago, the auditor says, no, that's not the right way to do it. You have to use general fund. It's a general thing, right? So the money was taken to the general fund, and you spent $726,000 for those lots. If and when, and most likely when, the Silver Mountain Group is done with the project, and they're planning to be like this fall, winter, then they are to buy the lots for $750,000. That's a big chunk of the change you need for east intersection. So, albeit it is money that you supposedly have it as it's an asset right now. It's a property. It's not cash, but it's going to be converted to cash pretty soon, and so that should make you feel a lot better that that's there. So, wanted to bring that up. Geothermal grant. I just want to tell you that I think I emailed you and just told you this issue came up, and the last thing I wrote to the guy at the state was just, hey, I want to let you know we're holding off on the McKinsey project, and I hope that's not a problem. And he didn't get back to me, but he and I had been going back and forth, so I know he got the information. I'm not going to bug him anymore. I'm just going to, play it out as the fact that we're waiting to decide later this summer whether we go forward with the McKinsey project, and then we decide whether we want to do the geothermal project.
Scott, is that a USDA grant? Is the geothermal a USDA grant?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I was just curious.
We can get the money for that. I don't know, find another federal grant, but it needs federal money probably.
Right,
Shifted down through the Colorado Energy Office.
okay.
Best I can tell you that off my head. All right, now just kind of a general comment, again, because I get to do this now before I leave. Counties do 2 things. They do roads, they do social services. All my life, and used to have a county home, county hospital, et cetera, county senior citizen center, you know, or home, et cetera, et cetera. And I just wanted to double check, so I got onto the Colorado website for Department of Human Services. And I'm just gonna read this to you, and I'll hand it, you can shift it down in case you wanna see it for yourself. But Colorado has a state supervised and county administered human service system. County departments are the main provider of many services to Colorado's families, children, and adults. And what I wanna kinda say here is that I think a lot of people either don't know that or forget that whenever the city decides to get involved and do social services, you are helping the county. It's not your obligation to do so. It may be a wonderful thing to do, but I just want to let you know there are two different duties from counties to municipalities. And another kind of twist to all this, we're sitting in the county here right now, right? And all of you are too. And you're paying county taxes, and you're paying municipal taxes. So the taxes from two entities are going to support a county function. But all I really want to do is bring that to light, to realize that you're doing something good and you're helping the county, but you're not absolutely obligated to do all that. I just keep those divisions of responsibilities where they are designed to be at. So I'll just read this to you. I was kind of surprised it said it so clearly, but that's the way I always knew it to be when I was growing up, and that's the way it is still. All right. Okay. In addition to general housing, I keep hearing people screaming, oh, there's too little, too slow, too much, too fast. You know, it's kind of both extremes. Well, what is it, you know? Well, you've seen the things that we're facing now and we're dealing with the planning department with all these different developments, and so there's quite a bit going on, and it is moving along fairly quickly. But the issue of whether individual people want it to slow down or speed up is another issue. But I keep hearing it from kind of both extremes, and it can't be both ways, in my opinion. But let's see. I've looked into the Bell Ranch drainage issue. I'm doing some more work on that. I don't want to make an answer, but I put some time into that. Dustin, do you have a separate spot for your report?
No, not on this
Go
one.
ahead and report what accomplished.
We got Attorney Goldman reviewed the audio statement of work. There is, I think his mid call out was the liability only falls to what the town pays into it, what we can recoup if there is a situation. And they did, but they do offer some litigation when it comes to infringement on personal property. But his feedback was it was just a standard statement of work contract. And we're going to get ready to go and get the website ADA compliant as well. Also today on the not so good news, the red tags went out for the first time in months. So we've been busy trying to get all that, getting everybody back on board, payments going, things of that nature, getting some back accounts collected on. And that's been win some, lose some. I mean, you know, people obviously when you have to pay a big sum of money aren't happy, but we're doing the best we can, and we've gone from 56 down to 12.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So from red tag to shut off. So, and we did collect on 5 of those 12 today. So trending in the right direction, kind of like ripping a Band-Aid off on that. But we're getting back on board with that. And I didn't know if Attorney Goldman had anything else to add about that statement of work
No, just,
with Audio Eye.
yeah, it's a $4,600
Yeah,
contract, so.
right.
To the extent we put $4,600 into it, the contract says they'll give us defense services to the tune, or they'll only be liable to us for $4,600, so. Didn't spend much more time on it than that.
And finally, I should have started off with this so you pay attention to me, but are your taxes done?
Yeah.
Or did you file for your expenses?
Oh, sure, you had to end with a bang.
Not, you're gonna be busy tonight.
Yeah.
February, maybe. Have some.
Public Works.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, trustees. We had 93 locations all the residential meters moved up from various houses, so that's been a 4-year ordeal.
Right on.
We got the last ones done today down on Church Street, they were patching that back today, so
Good job.
we can put that project to sleep. The sewer system, the big deal, we did deliver a termination letter, it was in your packet following my report, to Waste Management. One thing to note on that is, that's 2 separate contracts. Waste Management did provide pricing for the spring cleanup that's gonna come up later. But those, we just wanna make sure we're keeping those separate from the sludge hauling at the wastewater treatment facility and then the spring cleanup for those roll-off services. They are one of our local vendors. Other than that, we got the new street sweeper in. That's not in my report. We've been out sweeping,
Yay.
lots of stuff. Cleaning up. We'll get notifications out, get down on Main Street and get some of that stuff done as well. So that piece of equipment's operating really well. Other than that, maybe some snow this weekend. We're not plowing snow anymore. We put all that stuff up. We're gonna cut weeds. So if it snows, use your 4-wheel drive. It should melt pretty quick. Anyway, that's pretty much the big stuff, and I answer any questions if you guys have questions.
Jeremy, as far as the letter that went out to Waste Management, we're still awaiting a response.
Yeah, we've had no formal response in regards to that. So at this point in time, they are still removing the sludge from the wastewater treatment facility. We did receive an email back from them that the rest of April hauls will be done at no charge, and we're still gonna see what the details are as far as for the termination of that agreement. So there's some cost savings there that will come up, but we're still waiting for a response back from that. That went out last Wednesday.
Ah,
So
okay.
It's a long time to
That is a long
not
time.
respond.
Yeah.
they did respond with 3 free hauls, and we did get pricing back from them. It was a little bit late to be in the packet, but I have it over here. I got an email back from Stephanie. So when we're having a discussion about the cleanup, I do have pricing from them as well.
Okay, great.
So in that section is where we're going to talk about, we've terminated the sludge hauling, and so later we're going to talk about the plan to still haul sludge.
Later, we're gonna have the conversation about the spring cleanup that's coming up
Okay.
for that. We haven't had actual formal response back from them from the
Okay.
notice of termination letter
Okay.
that was sent out. So
Okay.
we're waiting for that.
We haven't gotten that far.
Okay.
Maybe they were hoping the
Separate
freebies would make you happy, but
Well, this, you guys have to decide. that.
yeah,
It's still not worth $130,000 a year.
no. Thank you, Jeremy.
Police chief report.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees. For the most part, a lot of calls for services again. We're busy. If you look at last year's, actually went back and redid last year's to make sure the numbers were correct in 2024. And those are actual, true numbers from March of last year. And the numbers are half of what we did this year. We've been really busy again. The other thing to note is we did test last month and we did fill it. She's already almost through with the application for the academy. She already did the drug screening, the health screening, the psych screening, everything else. She's passed. She's already got some of her stuff ordered. She's getting ready to come on board June 9th. And we're excited to get her through the academy. She's a ball of fire. One of the things that is not on the report because it just happened, we had our only marked spare vehicle go down. And the way we talked about what it's going to take to fix it, or tow it, fix it, and everything else was going to be several thousands of dollars. And this is a vehicle that I'm going to decommission in January anyway, so I'm not going to get it fixed. I've already talked to our car builders to get on the ball to build our 2 cars that we still have sitting and waiting to go. So he's going to start putting those up front, getting everything done. The other thing I am working on, since we've been getting a lot of calls about dogs at large, the feral cats and a lot of things, I reached out to Humane Society. We were working on going into an MOU with them, a contracted MOU, so that they will respond so our officers don't have to try to handle animals that they're not trained to handle. And take them, house them, do everything. And we're working on that now. I just got their version. I sent our version. I just got their version the other day. And Julie and I are working, trying to get this resolved so we can get on board and have an MOU with them.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would. Yep, that's appropriate.
if you have any questions about what we have been doing or haven't been doing, feel free to ask.
Yeah, can you just explain to me, like, why it's better to have such an increase in number calls handled between this year and last year? Like, why is that a good thing?
Why is it a good thing? Visibility. Visibility creates deterrence. Deterrence shows that the community, we are out there protecting the community. Just because we're not going to your house to take a crime call, my officers are in their neighborhoods, they're calling out extra patrols, saying that they're in your neighborhoods, so that the neighborhoods and the people that live there can feel safer and secure in the homes, knowing that we are out there all the time.
So does that relate to this chart?
Yes,
So
it should
meaning
be.
the expat is what you do the most?
I actually didn't print out the chart, but the one where it's, not extra duty, it's extra patrols. There's like
Okay,
117 of those, I think, wasn't there?
okay. Okay, thank you.
128, yeah.
Those,
you.
that's when the officer goes into your neighborhood, checks out that she's in that neighborhood, or he is in their neighborhood, and they're driving around giving you, your neighborhood extra patrol. They do that for all the neighborhoods they're in all the time, so that I can tell the community they're in there. And then we do have a mapping system within our utility program, and I can make sure that they are in your neighborhoods doing the philosophy of officer presence, community policing. We're out there being there for you.
How late do they do that? How late at night do they
All their
do
shifts.
that? I'm sorry?
Their whole entire shift, they're supposed to be out. I don't like them in the office. We've already had that conversation. They can only be in the office for eating, restroom, and if they had to really do a more of intensive report on an investigation. Other than that, I want them in the neighborhoods all the time.
So is that like until 11 or 12 or 2, or what time is that?
I really
until?
don't want to go public with our work hours because I
okay.
don't want people to think, you know.
Or go after them.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so
Well,
we-
I'm
We
not
provide
making,
24-hour service, and when they're working, they're on the streets, in the neighborhoods. I make sure of it every day. My sergeant also checks the charts. He checks the mapping to make sure that our philosophy of making sure Bayfield is getting the security and law enforcement they deserve is getting done.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Chief, I appreciate the visibility out there. I walk our neighborhoods every day.
I see you all the time.
I know, I'm out there, and I mean, your officers stop and just say hi, and I would want a lot of familiarity for our citizens with your officers. So I appreciate the format that you've set up and the expectation. I think it's exceptional, and I think it probably reduces incidents, so I think it's great.
We're getting ready to, I'm gonna have a meeting with the new captain of state police. She's in now. I'm gonna have a meeting with her because our 2-year MOU is up in September for traffic enforcement safety. I want to extend it, but I'm gonna ask for a traffic crash study on 160 and 501 to see how much it has reduced over the past 2 years with us handling, speeding and all that other stuff in that corridor.
Gotcha.
Be good to know.
Thank you, Chief.
Any other questions, comments for the chief?
No, thanks, Chief, for explaining that. I have seen officers in, our neighborhood, it's a lot of sheriff's deputies. And so when I'm seeing people that aren't you, I'm like, what's going on in Mesa Meadows? And then so it's nice to know that that's just patrols.
Well, they know I sit out front of my house when I'm watching TV, so they know, I know how often they go by my house.
Well, I don't know if you all knew, but when they were building my house got vandalized. Kids came in, they kicked in the drywall, they broke glass, they dumped primer on the floor, and that was your family, okay? And they knew they found out who did it, and our police officers took care of it. But I don't know, maybe if there were more patrols in the neighborhood.
Do you remember a post on the Mesa Meadows Facebook about 3 weeks ago? A guy had his front yard lights vandalized. We had that kid identified in 10 minutes. We went and talked to the owner, and he said he was appreciative of it. But we do monitor all the Facebook pages of all the neighborhoods. So if something pops up, our SROs, the current one and the last one, know every juvenile in town. So if anything happens, I just ask them. They know everyone. So, but we do monitor them to make sure that we're aware of what's going on in each neighborhood.
No, thanks, Chief. Great report.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Nope.
HR?
All right, we think this one works. Whoop, whoop. Now it's too loud. All right. Good evening. All right, here's my little plug today. If you would like to give back, we have a blood drive this Thursday. So sign up. We've got half the spots filled. I unfortunately hate needles, so I will not be participating. But if you would, there's a QR code that you can scan and sign up for times on Thursday, just from 11 to 2 p.m. Okay, we used our iSolved onboarding system for the first time for our temp utility person. Super easy, went very well, so I'm excited to continue to use that in the future. On March 25th, it might not have been with the Southwest Collaborative, but the Bayfield High School. I went to meet the seniors. There was a community panel, and really giving the high school, the seniors advice for resumes and interviewing. I'm going to be going back in like 2 weeks to help them do some mock interviews. So great way to meet the students. And then on May 6th, that's when their hiring fair is. And so I will be here and attend that as well. I was out for a week, so I feel like this was a really short month. I did a lot of planning for the town manager candidates that came into Bayfield last week. I thank all of you for being here to interview the candidates as well as the community members for the meet and greet. I thought we had a great turnout, maybe around 30 people there at the meet and greet. Only about maybe 10 filled out feedback forms, but again, it was just great that they could be there and give their input, or at least feel, right, that they could meet the candidates. So thank you all for your help with that too. Let's see, posted for the utility billing 3 position. I just posted on Indeed. It was while I was gone on vacation. We had 100 applicants. I don't know where all these candidates came from. We had 3 interviews today, great interviews. We have another one tomorrow. So hopefully in the next couple weeks, month, we'll have someone to fill that role and get going. But we've had some great applicants, so we're excited for that. We did hold a March Madness bracket, very fun, right? Even people that hadn't filled out a bracket before did fill one out. DJ, he won, he got first place. Chief got second, and then Josh Tolles got third. So too bad Duke lost, because Duke ruined all the brackets, but anyway, so that was fun. Honestly, Charlene. No, you were like in the top. You were in the top. Yes, you were. Yes, but Charlene from the DMV, she went for underdogs, every single underdog. So I think she got like 2 right, unfortunately. But and then, most important, I would just say, we have hired a community development director, and he is actually here today. So this is Stephen Proud, and we're really excited for him to start. His start date is going to be April 28th, so you have a couple weeks before you can really contact him. But we're excited for him to join the team and all of that.
Say a couple of things about himself. His connection.
I know you said. Okay.
As long as she didn't make him come, I said, as long as she didn't make him come, I'd be fine. If you invite me up, I'm happy. So, Mayor, trustees, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. I wanted to come before I started just to check out the proceedings, get a chance to meet everyone. I'm drinking from the fire hose, trying to learn as much as I can, and we'll be drinking even faster when I get here on the 28th. So I'm looking forward to having a little bit of an overlap with your contracted planner, Dan Murphy. So he and I will get a chance to spend some time together, let me get a chance to orient myself, learn as much as I can about some of the ongoing projects. I did a fair amount of research before I came in to interview, so I had a chance to look through some documents and old agendas and watch some old meetings, and so I feel like I have a little bit of knowledge, but they say a little bit of knowledge is dangerous, so I need a little bit more. But I am happy to be here tonight. If you happen to have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But I'm thrilled to be here. My wife and I moved here about 4 years ago. And so this is my first employment opportunity in the area. I've been fortunate to have what I thought was going to be a year off turn into 3 years off. Not a bad deal if you can get it. But I'm happy to be back and looking forward to jumping in and getting my feet wet and tackling the projects that are ahead.
Great.
Awesome. Well,
Stephen,
welcome.
welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Any questions for me?
Yeah, it's off now.
It's off now.
Any questions for HR?
Mayor, can I interrupt before you move on to the next
Sure.
agenda item? I wanted to explain a little better about the grant reimbursement process. That reimbursement requires a cashed check. That's why we would have to buy, it's not just a simple transfer of funds from one fund to another. I would actually have to have a cashed check to ask for reimbursement. So that's why I said I would have to actually write a check, buy the taps from ourselves, and use our check as proof of reimbursement.
Yeah.
Okay? And I also wanted to let you know that usually at this point in the meeting is, this meeting of the month would be my financial statements and sales tax. And we had auditors in the office, and that just did not happen. So those will be on the agenda at the next meeting,
That's fine.
just so you're aware.
Fully,
All right?
fully understandable.
Yeah, yeah.
We'd rather you help the
Yeah.
auditors with whatever they need than
Yep.
work on our stuff.
The audit went,
Yeah.
so far, the time in the office went really well.
Great.
So they've had a few questions back and forth, via email, but other than that, everything went well. Okay?
Great. Thank you.
Questions? Thank you.
Yep.
Next up is liquor license action agenda. Mill Street Bistro Restaurant liquor license renewal.
So yeah, I got a visit from the owner of Mill Street Bistro. They are well ahead of the curve, actually, on getting their renewal in. They don't expire for another month. I did reach out to the police department, and they had no negative input on that. All the fees are paid, and it's ready to go to the state with your approval.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does the board have any questions?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Mill Street Bistro Restaurant liquor license renewal.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Zazzaro?
Yes.
Trustee Hartz?
Yes.
Trustee Katzos?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin?
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. Next is Town Hall parking lot asphalt.
Yeah,
Is that you?
well, it'll be Josh, but, yeah.
Is that working?
Yeah, so that's just a quote and proposal from B&M Services. So that's for the seal coat, crack sealing, and restriping of the parking lots that's up front, and that is one of our CIP. It's in the budget for a CIP in the general fund.
Great.
Does the board have questions?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the $19,651 to be applied towards the BMM Services proposal.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Zazzaro?
Yes.
Trustee Hartz?
Yes.
Trustee Katzos?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin?
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. And you're back up with spring trash cleanup.
Okay, that's me too. So,
You thought you were gonna be done.
no, I was just trying to grab some paper so I can actually remember what I wrote that I put in the packet. So at the April 1st meeting, we were talking about the spring and fall cleanup. If you guys are aware, we did go from one all-inclusive solid waste provider to separate contracts for different services. So Reliable's doing our residential trash, we have Waste Management doing our sludge hauling, and I couldn't find an agreement for the spring cleanup. So I did make some phone calls, go out and get some ballpark pricing for the cleanup you'd asked at the last meeting. I did provide those with you. I do have pricing that came in a little bit late from our sledge hauling contractor in regards to the spring cleanup. And so that's for your consideration if you guys choose to host that this year. You requested some pricing to be able to make that decision. Waste Management did come back. Their pricing was at $450 per 30 yard for the haul, $100 delivery charge that's on there as well, which is a one-time delivery charge. And then Stephanie did email me and let me know that they would provide 6 30-yard roll-offs and charge for 3. So we'd get a 2-for-1 deal for the spring. If you chose to.
That sounds cheaper than this one, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
If we chose to award it. I did let all of the vendors know that we didn't know if we were doing fall yet. That was still a decision that was a topic for discussion.
So just to make sure I'm clear, it was $350 per container?
$450.
$450 per container.
Yep.
$100 delivery.
Yep, $100 delivery fee. So that $100 delivery fee for the Waste Management will be charged to the 3 containers we're being billed for. And then they said they would provide the other 3 at no cost.
So $1,450? Does that sound right?
Do we usually have
2,700.
6?
Because there's
They gave
6.
3, free.
Oh, that's right, that's right. Yep.
So it's a 2-for-1.
That's actually not bad price.
So I didn't know if you guys wanted to pursue a spring and a fall cleanup. If we wanted to do a spring cleanup, I wanted to bring you some of that information back and let you have a discussion and decide the direction that you'd like to go.
So Jeremy, I have a question for you. With the Republic services, it is a total of 5,348 because they say it's 4,011 for the containers, the disposal charge, et cetera. And then below that, it says the one-time delivery charge. So those two together is the total?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
And that's
Yeah,
where the
I-
per container charge for Waste Management is the $450 plus the $100, the delivery charge.
Gotcha.
And I believe in Trash Panda, there was a delivery charge or a mobile fee on that as well.
Yeah, they said 100 per ton.
Yeah, I did contact Venus Recycling, no response.
Okay.
As far as that goes, so those are basically our local roll-up providers.
Even though Waste Management is offering us a deal, do you have concerns?
Not that kind.
No, I don't, not really for the cleanup. It's gonna be a lot of yard debris and like construction type material. I think any of the 3 providers that gave us pricing would be able to perform well. It's on a Saturday, so it's basically a Friday drop-off. We load the containers and then they'll move out. Typically Monday, Tuesday. Sometimes the vendors are able to make all 6 trips that Monday, but you know, if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're not super picky. You know, once we
Yeah.
get them delivered and filled.
And it generally takes 6 containers? Okay,
So typically we'll get 6 30-yard roll-offs.
Uh-huh.
And that's what we do for spring and fall.
okay.
So spring's usually a little bit better attended than the fall cleanup.
Oh, sure.
We've seen over the past few years.
Okay.
So my thoughts are that we take advantage of the
Waste
pretty
Management.
inexpensive price of $1,450
Yeah.
and then wait to see how our contract pans out with the sludge removal before we make a decision in the fall. What do you guys think?
Yeah, because it seems like Trash Panda is a little less expensive
Yep.
than One Republic, but
And I read the
Waste
reviews
Management is the least expensive of
Right.
all
Right.
of them, so.
for this, yeah.
Yeah.
But Trash Panda's got excellent reviews. They had like 45 reviews, and all of them rated them right around 4.9. So, and just raved about them, so in the future, they might be
Yeah.
worth considering. But I agree with you. I agree with
I
you.
think so too, with the panda thing.
Yeah,
We gotta look at all our options at that point. if
Yeah.
That happens.
yep.
Is that a good enough direction? Do you need more of us to say anything? Because you didn't say
We
anything.
probably need a
Do we need a
motion.
vote or a motion?
Yeah, and I might suggest that as part of any motion, that if in fact there is a desire for the board to go with waste management, that the direction be given that go with waste management pursuant to their bid on this, understanding that we're gonna enter into a separate agreement,
Mm-hmm.
given
Yes.
our
Yeah,
notice of breach as
Correct.
to the original agreement.
Makes sense.
that's good clarification.
And a separate agreement for the fall.
And then a second agreement for the fall, should you decide to do that, but I think your motion, based
We don't
upon
wanna
what I'm
mix it
hearing,
up.
may be that you just want to limit it to this,
Spring
to
cleanup.
this spring.
Mhm. Yep. I agree,
It's called waste management.
yeah.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to go into a contract with waste management that is separate from our sludge agreement and
Pursuant.
proceedings that we're currently under, and approve 1,450 towards 6 roll-offs, 30-foot roll-offs. And that in the fall, we'll decide whether or not we want to do a fall cleanup later on.
I will second that.
Dustin, are you okay with that?
I'll have to get some off the recording, but yeah,
It was messy, sorry.
so not half of it.
I just.
What
tried to
Attorney
ask-
Goldman said.
Wait,
Just grab that.
I've learned that.
Just grab that.
I've learned that piece of advice, yes.
Hey, I covered everything. It was
You did, you did.
You're good, though?
Yeah.
We got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
trustee Zazzaro,
Yes.
trustee Hartz,
Yes.
trustee Katzos,
Yes.
trustee Moreland,
yes.
trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yes. Board of Trustees reports. I would just like to thank the staff and the people from the public who came to the Thursday night meet and greet, and also the people that were the participants in the interview process on Friday for their time. And I thank you all for just helping Bayfield be Bayfield and being a part of that. It's good that we have that public participation. And again, staff, I thank you for your time and the effort that you put into that. Trustee Hartz,
No update.
Trustee Kessos,
I have Region 9, the 29th of this month.
Trustee McLaurin,
Well, I asked, I just got an email recently from the Good Food Collective, and I've asked Dustin to forward it to all of you. They have, they're working on refining some of their goals and starting a plan of action. They've got a couple of meetings coming up May, I think it's 13th and 14th. It's in the email, but they are also in the email, they're asking, these are gonna be 2, like 3 to 4 hour sessions where they're really gonna hash out the 3 priorities that they have for this project in the first meeting. And the second meeting is going to how they're going to implement these changes. They're looking for a lot of input. These are gonna be in-person meetings rather than Zoom. And they do have a thing in the email that Dustin's gonna send out of where you can say which time works best for you. I personally couldn't figure out how to do that. So, but I did say, you know, I am planning to attend, and I'll bring back a good report on that.
And I'll email that out to y'all when you're in your
Yeah,
executive
anybody else would
session.
like to come, I think it'd be great, you know, they could do that.
Trustee Moreland,
Yes, so met with the Regional Housing Alliance. We had our board meeting last week, and we went over, there's a couple of applicants for the third round of their Catalyst Fund for this year, so that's pretty cool that we're able to help on that. We had a lot of talk about, Town of Ignacio, their subdivision, the Rock Creek project, and how well that's going for them. They've been able to do enough housing that I think they have like 3 teachers that are able to get in the housing over there, which is really cool. And they're starting to look towards their next phase of that as well. Also, I believe it's DOLA is coming into town, and they're going to be doing a kind of just a review of all. They're going to all the projects, and we were actually left off the list. So I was really glad I was there because I pushed the issue, and they are going to go by our subdivision and just kind of like take a look at it as well, so that they can see that we're on the map with our housing projects too. La Plata Economic Development Alliance meets next week, and then, or this week, and no, it's next week. I can't remember. And then I gotta look at my calendar. It's been a long day. And I actually went to the Colorado Mountain Housing Conference today, Mountains of Opportunity. It was a 2.5-day conference over affordable housing in not just our region, but the whole entire mountain region. Very interesting. Everybody is really pulling together to make things work for affordable housing and to get those costs down really low. We had lots of people from impact funds, people that, actually grant money to help get the costs down. We had people there from, that build modular homes and that build manufactured homes. We had people there that just kind of talked about how you can get rental housing into your communities. And it just was an overall really good conference, and I'm excited that we're actually a part of it and that our community is also doing the same things and trying to make it better. Once I get the slideshow from them, I'll share it with you guys so you can have it as well.
Great.
Super.
Just a question, Brenda, was it the, in Ignacio, was it the modular homes that they got, that they
Yeah, so
put
the
up?
Rock Creek
Yeah,
subdivision that they're building is out of modular homes.
right.
Yep.
I went and looked at the modular home factory when I was at the conference last year, and they were doing a good job.
Yeah, it's really cool. We had somebody that was actually talking about how they're built nowadays, and they're built very similarly with the same kind of codes that are their houses. And I think a lot of times we have in our brains that it's like those old mobile homes before HUD came in and said, hey, we need to have some structure to it.
Yeah.
And we have to have guidelines for these to be built. But I think in our brains, we always think about those mobile homes and they're just not as well built. And that's not the case in today's world. They're done to the same codes and standards that we do on stick-built homes. So it was really cool to understand and get to know all that information.
I think there's a big difference between the modular homes, which I personally had in Virginia too, as opposed to mobile homes.
Yeah.
They're constructed,
So,
they're done in a factory.
This is exactly what they were talking about. So mobile homes, the actual mobile homes were built prior to 1977.
Okay.
There has not been a mobile home built since 1977, and the closest thing that there is to a mobile home in today's world are tiny homes. Those are the closest because they're not regulated like manufactured and modular homes are. So that's the kind of difference that I learned as well, yes.
That's interesting, yeah. Because modular homes, people, I've run into a big attitude that they have about them. I mean, out in Virginia anyway, you couldn't tell a modular home from a stick-built home. In fact, they're better built because they're built under controlled weather conditions. They're in a factory. They're exactly like a stick-built. They just come in sections.
That's all I have.
Trustee Nyberg?
Southwest TPR meeting was April 10th. They've developed their list of their 15 major projects.
Are we on it?
Nope. But they're aware of us. And just to forewarn you, they're gonna start from Elmore's to 223 on that stretch of highway to make it 4 lanes
When? Do they know?
in the next month. You'll see they've already started cutting down trees.
I didn't notice that. I'll have to look in the morning when I go.
Yep, so your commute to Durango will be,
I'll be going the back way.
yep.
That's all there is.
So will
Not
everybody
even like
else.
just- Yeah, but I'm way earlier than everybody else because I leave at 6:30, so I'm good. And then I go home early.
How far is the 4 lanes going?
All the way to that water station.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So their thing was because people are coming down that hill at such a high rate of speed,
Mm-hmm.
there's been a lot of, so they want to curve that, and so that's number 2 on their list.
Are they doing the
Wow.
roundabout first? Is that what their
It's,
intentions are?
it's still in discussion. There was a gentleman from Pagosa that was very irritated with the project, and you have a chance to file a grievance because they're gonna vote on this list in the next 3 weeks. And so you can file, and if you don't
I'd
agree
rather
with
it's
it,
light than a roundabout.
I don't know, it'll be interesting to see.
Roundabouts.
So,
They are indeed.
They are.
well, they wanna slow the traffic down.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I mean, I'd be even okay with a stop sign, but people are stupid in roundabouts.
They really are. They don't use turn signals, they don't.
Tell us how you really
All
feel,
right,
Trustee
all right,
Moreland.
let's get back, let's
That's all
get
I
back
got.
on track. Trustee Cesaro?
I have a meeting with Upper Pine on Thursday. They have their board meeting, so I will attend that and I'll have a report out at our next meeting. And then the Bayfield Chamber of Commerce is meeting next Tuesday, and I am planning to be at that. I'm actually helping the Chamber of Commerce put together a survey to send to all of the membership right now. To the last meeting I was at, there was a lot of what is the point of the chamber and the people who are volunteering their time to manage a Chamber of Commerce. And so the determination was to ask the membership what they would like to see out of a chamber. Is there any utility in this? I think that's where we also were having the discussion about the block parties that everyone was in agreement with, that those need to continue happening. So, and I think, is there a meeting scheduled yet?
There is one scheduled, and DJ and I will be attending as well.
When is it scheduled? Because I was supposed to be invited.
Tuesday at 5:30, I believe.
Oh, that's at okay, that's the chamber meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're coming to the, okay, so we'll all be there.
We'll see
Yay.
you there.
Okay, so we'll be discussing the block parties there too, but I'm just trying to help since I'm the liaison to the chamber, just trying to help figure out, do the businesses in our community want to have a chamber? Is the chamber meeting their needs? And if not, what is it that they need? And can the volunteers in the chamber meet those needs? So we shall see what comes of the next meeting, next week. That's it. I
Okay.
think.
Upcoming dates of interest, Board of Trustees meeting on May 6th at 6:30, and I think we're having a work session at 5:30. Planning Commission meeting on May 13th. Is that a go, or?
This is the last update I heard from Dan. He's been on vacation, but the last update I heard was
I actually
yes.
think there's something scheduled too.
Yeah, I think they have something to do with the McCoy annexation.
Yeah. And then the blood drive on Tuesday at
And-
Joe Stevenson Park.
Thursday.
Thursday, excuse me.
If I can add
Today's
something
Tuesday. I was adding 2 and forgot.
too, Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind me adding something I did forget to put in there. Don't forget the spring fling, Saturday morning, weather permitting. It is supposed to snow that day, so we're hoping not, but the spring fling 5K run and Easter Bunny will be there.
Oh, yay.
Cool.
Joe Stevenson Park.
Anything else?
Yeah, you guys should be getting notification from Dustin that the next board meeting on the 6th, Saratoga will be speaking about the child care initiative. So we'll be doing just a workshop with that.
Next up is the executive session.
You're so good at it.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we go into executive session. In accordance with CRS Section 24-72-2043AIX and CRS Section 24-6-402 3.5 and CRS Section 24-6-4024E, in determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiation and consideration of documentation and other materials for conducting and discussion of a personnel matter under CRS Section 24-6-4024F, and not involving any specific employees who have requested discussion of the matter in open session, any member of this body, or any elected official, the appointment of any person to fill an office of this body or of an elected official, or personnel policies that do not require the discussion of matters personal to particular employees. The topic involves negotiations of the town manager contract.
And you would like to include?
And I would like to include trustee Nyberg, trustee Zazaro, trustee Hartz, Mayor Ah, trustee Katsos, trustee Moreland, trustee McLaurin. Raise your hand if I need to say your name. HR Director Marie Kem, and Town Attorney Goldman.
And maybe Scott?
It might also be helpful to have your interim town manager there.
And interim town manager Scott Hahn.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
trustee Zazaro.
Yes.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes.
trustee Katsos.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin.
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. We'll take a 5-minute break while we get recording set up.